It's finally the end of the year. Temperatures are getting a little bit cooler in the Reno Sparks area, but what are prices and the real estate market doing in our area? I'm Garrett Stewart, and it's time to take a quick look at what happened in the month of November for Reno Sparks in Northern Nevada. Let's take a look. Well, we saw median home price drop down just $1,000 for November. Now that is, if you look at compared to last year, we saw quite a bigger drop. So not as big of a drop as we saw last year. Looks like the market's hanging on a little bit stronger. We'll get into that in a second. These are single family homes in Reno and Sparks. Now, how quickly are homes selling in the area? Median days to contract actually went down to 29 days. So if you look at that, that means if you compared to last year, it went from 28 to 33 versus went to 33 to 29 this year. So homes were selling a little bit faster in November versus October. Will that stick? Probably not, but we saw, some people jumping into the market, maybe those that were waiting till after the election, right? Now, looking at the price ranges and which price ranges are moving the fastest, you can see over here, we saw a kind of a correction back in the 1.5 million and above, as well as the opposite correction for the $300,000 to $400,000 ranges. Those have the smallest sample sizes there, not as many sales in those price ranges, so they can be a little bit more dramatic. But you look at the rest, and some definitely went up a little and some went down a little. For example, the 750 to 999,000 went from 34 days to 43 days. Now let's talk about inventory, new listings, and what has sold in the last month. I'm looking back in the history, and you can see that inventory actually dropped a little bit from 969 to 912 inventory, and you can see, and this was really interesting, look at that new listings drop as well as sold listings dropped quite a bit from 468 to 342 for new listings hitting the market, and sold listings from 416 to 329. So definitely kind of slowing down a little bit, but not as much as we saw last year. So very interesting, kind of having a little bit stronger of a year so far this last quarter. Like I said, for inventory, you can kind of look at the history there. It is starting to do that downward trend. We're likely going to see that continue for the rest of this winter and into the spring. Looking at inventory, what's available in the price range you're looking for if you're a buyer, or if you're a seller, what's your competition? So, and you can see almost everything stayed the same. Some, dipped a few homes, maybe 10, 15 tops in most of these categories. So nothing too dramatic of a change there, but most of them were going down. Now this was surprising. This is month supply of inventory. So it went from 2.3 to 2.8 months supply of inventory. What does that mean? Well, that's just going to mean that technically we're leaning more towards a buyer's market at that point, which was surprising to me given that we saw the days to contract go down. But with just the inventory adjustment, not going down as quickly probably as some of the others, it kind of ended up teetering better and more favorable for the buyer in November versus October. Now let's see how we're looking to finish off the year. We still have one more month left, but this is new listings comparing to every single year from January 1 to November 30th, and you can see we are on track to have a decent amount more listings, new listings this year versus last year. So that's good. We're getting a little bit more activity going on. Should be a little bit stronger of a market this year versus last year. Looking at closed sales, this is one we've been watching closely. There were some months earlier in this year where we were kind of tracked neck and neck, but this last quarter, the second half of the year more importantly, has really started to be a little bit more stronger for us. And so with that, we started to get a few more homes out there. Nothing dramatic, but we're looking like we're going to close out the year with a few more home sales than last year, but fairly close though. And look at that, well below the average of the pre-COVID times. Pending sales by month. So what this means is how many homes accepted an offer in the month of November. And look at that, quite the drop from 415 to 343. Now, that may look bad, but if you look all the way to the other end of that graph, from October to November, it went from 322 to 289. So even last October it was less, and then November was much less for new pending sales. So we definitely saw quite a few more homes, more than 50 more homes go under contract this November versus last year. So that's good news. This is just a quick graph kind of showing over the last 12 months and looking at a week by week pinpoint of what's happening. And so this is our trend line to kind of see where things are going. It can be dramatic week by week, but you kind of look for the trend. And with that, you can kind of see they're starting to teeter downward a little bit there. So each week can be a little bit different, but we'll keep tracking that and see how strong we're going to finish off the year. We're going to take a look at the sales here, pending sales, how many homes went under contract in a certain price range. So this, if you're a seller, pay attention to this. This is how many homes were going pending. You can kind of compare it to the inventory levels too, if you're curious, and see how those changed. But taking a look at that, look at some of these at $600,000 to $750,000 price range, 91 to 71, so drop 20 homes, versus the higher price points didn't change too much, and lower, not a ton either. So definitely some of those more middle ones were a little bit more volatile in terms of kind of just dropping down in activity. We're going to finish up going at these different hyper-local markets, starting with Reno. And look at that, median sales price for Reno, $630,000. Now, month over month it's down, but year over year, look at that 7.7% year over year gain in equity for the homeowners there. So this is going to be a little bit different than Sparks. It was kind of interesting comparing the two. We'll get to that in just a second, but you can kind of look at the inventory as well as closed sales, and a lot of this is down for month over month, but up year over year for the inventory. So we're tracking that, but everything's kind of outpacing a little bit more than last year. It's kind of interesting. Taking a look at Sparks, $530,000, $100,000 less, and you can see year over year, just barely, not even a full percent of a little bit more in terms of equity gain. So not a huge difference there. Looking at inventory, we have seen a lot more inventory hit the market compared to last year. And look at those closed sales as well. New listings up a bunch too. So we're seeing a lot more activity happening in this market. Taking a look at Carson City, our capital, $544,000 median home price. Remember, Sparks was $530,000, $544,000 for Carson City. It's outpacing. So very interesting there. Look at the year over year numbers, looking a lot better. Active inventory down year over year and month over month. So kind of interesting there. But look at those closed sales, much better year over year. So yeah, east to Fernley, and we saw $380,000 median sales price. Just a little bit of year over year gain so far for you out there, but still positive. That's good news. Active inventory of 88 homes for sale out there, a little bit more than last year, so that's good. But year over year for closed sales, a little bit less compared to last year, 33. So let's talk about Gardnerville and Minden, and $614,900 median sales price. So people always ask me, why is it so much more expensive out there? A lot of it is just that acreage out there. I was kind of curious the other day, and I actually just shrunk that down to below half-acre properties, and it was below $550,000 median sales price. So once you kind of take out that factor of acreage, you're going to have a little bit less of a median sales price for out there. But look at that, down quite a bit year over year for it, but it's a little bit more volatile. We see that Minden Gardnerville one change so much just because there are some bigger sales that sometimes happen that will really skew the numbers. But median days to contract at 51, so that was quite the hike as well. So nearly 2 months to get a property under contract for the month of November. Reno Sparks, we're heading back to, but for condos and townhomes, $319,600 median sales price, a little over 4% gain year over year. Inventory at 257 properties available. That's quite the jump year over year. And look at the days to contract, 56 days to contract. So a big jump there month over month and year over year. And just 46 homes sold, or condo townhomes sold last month as well. So Definitely kind of interesting seeing what's happening in the market there. If you are curious of what's happening in the market, I just updated my quarterly market guide. I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below. You can click that, get a digital copy, or feel free to text me, call me, or email me, and I can send one in the mail for you if you want a physical copy. Some people like the physical copy. Has a nice map of everything that's happening in the market here in the Reno Sparks as well, so you can kind of look at all the specific areas too. So check that out, and don't forget to hit that like button yet. If you haven't yet, hit that now, and be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. It really helps me grow the channel and give you these market stats to help you. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas.